welcome to another episode of Nerds of the Round. If you haven't guessed by those cups, we're talking about Solo today. And this episode, we have guests with us, Lorisse and Law. Everybody remembers Law.
What's going on? I'm glad to be back. So glad to be back.
So wait, what are we talking about today, guys?
I wonder.
Also, too, we got a special guest behind the camera. Jesse's not with us today, but we got Antonio from across the hall. He's filming. Yeah, Antonio. We all definitely saw Solo, all four of us here. Guys, spoilers. If you haven't seen the movie,
You have been warned.
So what did you guys think of the movie? What was your expectations? Did it live up to it?
Okay, that's the first problem. Is that Star Wars fans come into this with expectations. It is a standalone movie, a backstory of Han Solo, which we didn't ask for but loved. I mean, I loved it. I had fun. But Star Wars fans, I feel like, come into these Star Wars movies expecting, okay, you have half the fans expecting traditional Star Wars and it has to be exactly like Star Wars. Then you have half the fans are like, I cannot stand how you just use the same tropes over and over and it's exactly like the other Star Wars. So you can never
I mean,
win.
to the same degree, you also have the fans who are very diehard to what is considered canon. So if it's not canon or it's not something that's traditional,
Completely show.
They're just like, leave me alone with it.
I totally agree. I mean, we had this discussion about it in our past Star Wars episode. Fan theories. I think fan theories is what people are hanging on too long to.
Yeah.
It's making them disappointed in the Star Wars movies.
Exactly.
We got to take this as, okay, these are new chapters we're seeing.
Exactly.
And to me, Solo was a great movie. There was only one thing I was confused about, but it was a great movie.
It was. It stood alone. I mean, it stands true. I had fun. I enjoyed it, and I feel that fans should go and see it. Go and see it. God, like, just
Han
go and
shot
see it.
first.
As we can see from the first clip, Han definitely shot first. If we're considering that he is Han.
There's a lot of stuff that happens that Han Solo is known for.
Yeah.
We know about the Kessa one. We finally got to see it. We know about the card game.
Yeah.
We finally got to see it. How did you feel about the executions of these scenes?
These were very well executed, and it was like, again, I didn't go in with expectations. I almost to some degree had like no expectations or very low
Major
expectations. So when I went in there and I saw these things, it was like, oh, they really did that. Like, that's awesome. So you're getting to like see all these little things that you hold on to for certain characters, and you're seeing them on the big screen for the first time, and you're just like, oh. And so you're like bumping your boy who has no idea what's going on. Like, what? Like,
Oh, you went with a non-Star Wars?
I mean, no, but like, I can imagine that there's people in the audience who are like the diehard fans,
Right.
with the non-like fan who just like kind of went in there because
And
they
still
like
enjoyed
Donald
it.
Glover or.
I love the poker game. I love the fact that when they
Dude.
did the poker game the first time,
That was fun.
it is
So yeah.
Sabat. Let's just call it. It's poker. It's space poker. Thank you, Tony. I like how they showed that he lost that first game and he realized how he lost.
Yeah.
So that
As soon as you realize
Then you're like,
that he got tricked out of it in like one of the cases, and then the last scene of him just like, hey, how's it going, buddy? And then him just being like, like the expression of just like,
Got something going on there?
fool me once, like what happened? What's going on, buddy?
What's going on there? Got something? You got an itch?
You know, it was so well done, and I think it only worked even better because of, I think, Donald Glover and the guy playing Han Solo, like, they worked well together in this. They played off each other really well.
buddy cops. They were buddy cops.
Yeah,
Buddy
absolutely,
cops.
absolutely. To some degree, they're almost like a Spike and Jack.
Spike and we got modern day Cowboy Bebop. Let's talk about Han and Chewie's first meeting. How did you guys feel about that one?
Okay, sorry. I'm so sorry, but I knew what was coming up, and the whole time I'm like, oh, it's Chewie. They were like the beast. I was like, Chewie? You know, it's horrible because you know what to
You knew it was
expect.
gonna happen.
You know he's gonna meet Chewie eventually.
But it was still a nice surprise.
But it was
Like,
still, yeah.
very
It was
nice.
like inventive, I think.
Yeah, it was definitely a nice surprise, and it wasn't something where, like, Chewie came and you were just like, oh, they hyped him. Like you hyped up this beast and he can rip you.
He can. He's a Wookiee.
He's a Wookiee. He can rip you limb from limb. So you're just kind of like, oh shit, and then you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Is that like, oh, he's gonna kill Han? Don't kill Han.
Right, but you know he's not gonna.
But then you realize that he's like, yeah.
But then they did the whole thing when he was speaking to him in Wookiee. It's like, you speak Wookiee?
Yeah.
It's like, look at the
That I thought was very, very poignant because it speaks to his character that he's so resourceful that he has to know other languages in order to get around and stick around. And that made so much sense because when I was watching like the traditional Star Wars movies, I was like, how the hell does he know Wookiee? And it answered my question.
Well, at the same time, he's a smuggler. Like, he's been in, like, a little bit of everything. I would expect him to at least know how to get around.
Yeah.
Pick up a few things, right.
But it's a great thing that they did explain that. What I like, they showed where he came from. The planet, he was an orphan. He escapes the planet, then he joins the Imperial Army, and so he learned it while he was in the Imperial Army. And it's just like, oh, okay, so it just explained about his renegade character.
It did. Yeah. It did. I like that. Did you notice too in the beginning when he was on that planet? Was it just me or was the lighting a little bit dark?
I think that I think
Was it
the lighting was dark.
I like on purpose,
I
right?
think
It was
they did
purpose
that
with the
because
atmosphere.
Yeah.
Well, if you notice to some degree, the first planet that he was on with Kira, and then also the planet right after the mud planet, like where he meets
It's like gray and dark.
It's gray, it's dark, it's gritty. You don't see like that kind of like bright light to some degree until you get to the first heist. I want to say
That's something
because
on the snow planet.
It's on the snow planet. So even though it's not, it's still kind of gray and dull. The white light essentially is kind of like that light at the end of the tunnel for his character, for sure.
Let's talk about the reveal of Darth Maul.
I was so hyped.
Hold on.
But I was
Are we gonna jump inside like so?
Oh yeah, we're gonna jump. We're jumping.
First of all, I need a part 2 because I need a part 2. I need to see
Well, it's been confirmed. At this point, they have confirmed that they're doing part 2 and 3. They're gonna make
That's
whole
awesome.
solo arc.
Because when you saw episode 1, 2, and 3, and you see Darth Maul's character, and you're like, there's more to his story. You know, these are characters that we need to see more of.
Well, you get Darth Maul. So here's what happened with me because I didn't watch Rebels and I didn't watch Clone Wars.
Oh my god.
I know. So, but I
get him.
But wait, don't get me yet, because I know what happens. Relax. I stay up to date.
I'm with you in that boat.
So,
It's so fun.
no, because so here's what happens. So like people are like, Lawrence, you never saw this or you never caught on this. I was like, no, but I know.
Yeah.
So like I actually did an episode of Geek Ronin where the girl was like, you don't watch Walking Dead. I was like, yeah, but I run like a huge group of just like fandoms and nerds, so I know what's happening.
Right.
Relax.
Right.
Before you jump down my
You got
throat. So I understood what was happening, but at first it caught me so off guard because I forgot where they were in as far as timeline goes.
Yeah.
So I'm like, this can't possibly happen during episodes 1 to 3
Right.
because he would be too old or too young or whatever the case is. Like the age just wouldn't match up. But then I was like, oh, okay. So then I looked at it where I was like, oh, this must fit into the Rebels and what have you. And I'm like, because everyone was expecting Jabba, and I think I was super expecting Jabba. But
they mentioned with Jabba.
Oh, they do mention it. I wanted to see him. I wanted to see actually his dad, because his dad at that time would have been the big boss.
One. Yeah.
So I was expecting that, but to see Darth Maul was like, that's what, like it brought so much more like hype to like you know what I mean? Like,
the problem with that was the audience wouldn't shut up so we can hear what he was saying, and everyone was just like, ah! But to your point about knowing the story, I was gonna mention that in the beginning, where people have expectations about these stories, right? And I was gonna mention, what's the point of having expectations and knowing what's gonna happen if the directors can't take some artistic license and surprise us? But then you know the whole movie already, and what's the fun in that? So you can know a comic, you can know a story, you can see the shows on Netflix or whatever, but what's the point of going to the movies if you know everything that's gonna happen? And that's what I was gonna say earlier, is that Star Wars fans
Yeah.
like with these expectations, they're kind of unrealistic. Like you want to be surprised. And that's what
I
they're
don't
doing.
even call those fans. I call those radicals. They just like to hurt fandoms.
Yeah.
I mean, for me,
I
Darth
mean,
Maul,
they're the reason why we don't have Kelly return. Like, she's so awesome. Can I like
She's so
just take a quick
cute.
second? She's like,
I was gonna
Those are
touch up on
trolls.
that.
So-
Yeah.
Those are trolls. Those are not fans because true fans, Kelly, true fans would
We
not.
love you, Kelly.
we love you. It's to the same degree where with The Force Awakens, a lot of like fans were super like, it feels exactly like, you know, A New Hope.
I mean, that's part of the
then-
nostalgia. of it.
right? But they had to give you A New Hope,
Yes.
so you can ring in the old and bring in the new.
New, exactly.
It's a
They
new
had
story.
to.
It's a new story.
You had
But-
7-year-old fans there. They weren't even born when they came out.
Right. But then you also have with The Last Jedi something completely new. I'm just like, this is the movie that's gonna like separate themselves from the pack as
Yeah.
far as this whole franchise is concerned. And it did. And everyone who considers himself a super fan got so caught up in their feels and was like, no, they don't like this movie. We can appreciate the movie, what it is, but at the same time, like they're seeing this movie and they're like jumping down his throat and they're so quick to like burn it at the stake, and it's like, yo, bro, this movie was not for you. This is for a new generation of Jedis and Sith and whoever you want to consider your allegiances to.
Right.
This is for them. This
Right.
is not for us anymore.
What's that meme? Shh. Let people enjoy things.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely. And I think Solo did that as well. Like
It did.
Solo was
I agree.
not only like a really fun movie, like it was
Oh, it was really
a
fun.
fun like space adventure
Yeah.
kind of like if you never watched a Star Wars movie a day in your life,
Go see it.
this is a movie where you can jump in and be like, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Because
It gives
not even
something
dealing
for
with
everybody.
any right. It's not even dealing with anything about the Force and anything about, you know, the Skywalker family and whatnot. You're just seeing this movie and you're like, that was mad fun.
It was.
Like I
It was-
genuinely felt myself laughing throughout the
Yeah.
entire movie.
I think like I said, I went with Tony. The whole Darth Maul reveal for me, I was a little mixed about it, but then I started
Really?
thinking about it more and more because I
But-
liked
but
it,
why-
but then
but
at the
why-
same
but
time I was
why
like,
were
where
you
is
mixed?
It's like
no,
the
no,
setup for
it
that.
was like this. It wasn't set up that I was like, oh wow, Darth Maul, but then I was like, Darth Maul, wait, what does he have to do? But then as I started thinking about it more, it gave me hope for even more what they're gonna do to the story. I was
Yes.
like, you know what?
Yes.
I was like, let's see where they go with this.
Thank
They're,
you.
they're taking risks.
It was like
there's
volleyball.
This whole,
They set you up and then you.
there's this whole underworld like crime element
Yeah.
that where Han and where Lando exist. And in
Exactly.
Star Wars, where we have the Jedi, we have the Sith, and we have, you know, the Republic, and we have all these things happening above, but behind the scenes on like the nitty gritty, like all these things happening are like
Well, it-
the stories that we want to see. We want to see like the people who don't have powers, who aren't like, you know, standing up for the rebellion kind of thing. They're just trying to make it through and try to, you know, make it to the next, you know, big
Nice.
payday or the next day.
They said this. They want to explore more in the Star Wars universe, and I think that this is a gateway for them to do that. Let's talk about Kira and F and Sus. Let's really talk
Yeah.
about those characters. How did you guys feel about those two characters? Like,
Khaleesi.
And it was one of those things where, like, it was so dope to see her, like, portrayal of this character and, like, see, like, her story arc. Because,
Yeah.
you know, like, she's been through some, and
And
they don't even touch upon, like, a lot of it. And then that gives even more clarity to the decision that she made towards the end.
Right.
Where it was like, nah, you go ahead, I'm gonna catch up kind of thing. And she was like, nah, I'm just gonna.
And by the way, it's like movie tropes 101. I'm right behind you. Nah.
Yeah, I mean, part of me, like,
We knew.
I guess wanted to believe that, like, that was
I mean,
gonna
they
happen.
set you up for that, but we knew. Because, I mean, it's just, in her story, it wouldn't.
it's nature of her character.
It's her nature of her character. Yeah, it wouldn't
She's
line
a
up. It wouldn't make
survivor.
sense. Right, exactly. And she's doing what she gotta do. She's like, oh, actually, someone else killed this dude, and now I'm in charge. I'm the head honcho. Basically, Queen
Right.
of Dragons, aka Khaleesi, like I said.
Space Khaleesi.
Yes.
Khaleesi.
Yeah, it is a very, it's
Hashtag
very much a survivor's story, and do what you gotta do to not only survive, but to keep climbing that ladder and get to the top. Like she wouldn't have lasted that much longer had Homeboy been in power.
Now, my whole thing with the character is this because I'm already seeing people assume that she's gonna be killed off because obviously she's not in the original Star Wars arc.
That doesn't mean anything.
I don't think it's gonna mean anything.
doesn't mean
I would like
anything.
them to explore the character more, where it leads into, okay, let's go off into other stuff. I think she was a really strong character.
She
I would like to
was.
see more development.
Absolutely.
I feel like a lot of these characters we can't
Write them off. You
We
can't.
can't write them off.
Unless you're L3 and you die and freed all the
She
slave
didn't-
robots.
She didn't die technically.
Whatever, her
She-
soul
she's
is
in the
alive
ship.
in the ship. Like,
But remember
why?
the original Star Wars where C-3PO he
Yeah.
taps into the ship and
Yeah.
like, oh, your ship has like an attitude or something.
Yeah, and it's L3 because
And-
L3 has an attitude problem. It makes
told you.
sense. It makes sense.
It did, and again, I want to go back and emphasize because I like how this character went from being, when you first introduced
You thought he- you
introduced
thought
this
she was a
character.
man.
Yeah, you thought first of all she was a man. You
Check your
saw her
gender
through it.
norms.
Yeah. Also, too, you thought the character was very vanilla when you first introduced her. As like, oh, this is just a villain character.
Right.
But then the
There's
reveal, yeah, and I was like, wow, there was really a lot of stuff put into this character.
Absolutely.
And I want more emphasis.
So much depth. Like, I mean, I want to cosplay her. Dibs. I mean, she's
Dibs,
just
I love that.
freaking awesome.
Yeah, like for sure, it was one of those like unexpected twists towards the end.
Yeah.
Because you see it and you're just like, damn, like what do you do now? Because like you sitting here looking at like the face of a barrel and you're just like I'm gonna die if I go back and don't deliver on what I said I was gonna deliver on. But at the same time, like I have to do, like as Han, as he can be the he's not, it's not that he's not a good guy. His hands get a little dirty, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he's willing to like do the things
The
that
dirty
most heroes won't do. And I think him seeing her look at him and be like, listen, this is actually what's going on, and like what are you gonna do about it, really put into like reality and question his morality.
Yeah, that's like the core of his minor conscious. Of,
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
He's not choosing sides, but eventually he chooses the rebellion.
And it's kind of how it's
It's his energy. I mean, that's his MO throughout all of the movies. Is I'm not choosing sides, but I feel you. It's kind of
Solo.
right.
And also to some degree, it plays to him. I don't want to say to his best interest, but he's almost one of those like, what is the greater good
and my
showed a
bad.
lot of his
and my
character.
best interest.
Yeah.
It showed a lot in his character. It showed a lot with the fact that when you, like I said, going back to emphasize, she wasn't vanilla. Like again, with the reveal that it was a young girl leading these group of bandits because they were, fighting for something because their parents had their tongues cut out by the syndicate.
Yeah.
And then it came to that moment when Han Solo was like, you know what, I gotta pick and choose. I could either be inhuman and give them these weapons, or you know what, we're gonna help these people. And he chose that, and that's something you see a lot in the Han Solo character. But
There's something to be said about the commentary, though, that she made, that we're all from different planets and we were all treated the same way. Almost like what's going on, and if you want to get political, whatever, what's going on in America is like, I love how movies can speak to relevancy in the nation, and we have this Muslim ban, and what's going on in Puerto Rico, and everyone is in various cultures, unless you are the of the supremacy and of the privilege that is in America, are getting affected by the same overarching rule.
so let's talk about L337 because obviously you guys definitely had a lot to say about this robot.
I'm gonna give it
Best
also
robot.
like, okay, so can we do a list of the snarkiest robots?
First of all,
Because I feel like the entire Star Wars
First of all.
universe is just like
Rolling up my
back talking snarky robots. Like you have no idea what R2D2 says,
he curses so
but
much.
your man is the
He
worst.
curses. He has such a potty mouth. It's crazy. And then you got L3, and she's just sitting back like, yeah, Lando likes me, but whatever.
It's not gonna work out.
ain't nothing.
Whatever the case is.
It works. The parts work or whatever. And then also, she if you can have robot slaves, free the robot slaves, okay? She found her purpose and her calling in life, and then she died. So I guess that's when we die. We all die when we find our purpose.
She went to the big ship in the sky.
Right. Literally. You like that?
How did you guys feel about Beckett and his crew?
I'm so annoyed. Like Rio was so funny and.
But what? All right, so
whatever.
Here's what I'm gonna talk.
I'm just.
How would they have really affected the outcome of the later?
And
like,
that's my
series?
problem. I felt like he was just there to die so that it can drive the storyline, so that Han can prove himself as a pilot and he can get. And it was just like, come on, I want to know more about Rio now.
I think that's mostly affected Beckett because keep in mind that was Beckett's fam.
That was his fam.
That was his fam.
Like this,
And I would have loved to see more of that actually on screen.
Yeah.
Is the familiarity, the family, you know, like why is it that they trust each other so much, and why does he say that he doesn't? The dynamics are very interesting to me, and I would have liked to see more of it.
But I think Beckett was the strongest of the crew, even though we loved Rio, we loved Ed Newton's character. But Beckett, to me, I think he was also one of the real villains in the movie, only because of that betrayal at the end.
like for sure, like he said it. Like he said, "Yo, can't trust anybody." Like it's in his
He's like,
nature.
"Oh,
like,
you too?"
Like you can't. It's almost like someone doing something completely in their character, and then you calling them out for it, and being like, "Yo, you knew this about me from the jump. So how you gonna be mad at me?" So you can't look at him as
you love to hate him because you can't hate Beckett. He
Right, because he stands true.
But yeah.
He stands true.
In a way though, with Beckett's character, even though I say like he's the actual villain, but you feel sad because all these events led Beckett to this.
Exactly.
With what happened to him. So Beckett again, he's one of those characters that I'm a survivor. And in a way, it taught Han lessons of how Han's character grows.
It taught him how to shoot first. Ding.
We know Paul Bettany as Vision from Marvel,
Yes.
but now he's playing Dryden in Han Solo. How did you feel about him playing Dryden?
amazing villain. Probably one of my favorite villains I've seen in recent years.
I want to know more about Dryden. It was pretty.
Yeah, he's
But
also
he served his
one of the.
He served his purpose.
He served his
I
purpose.
think he's a clean-cut villain. Like, it's cut and dry what he is, who he is, how he climbs to the... I mean, I feel like his story is too vanilla. I don't know. Like, maybe there's something deeper, but that's not a story that I'm like interested in going in deeper about. I think contrast of Vision and his character in Solo were interesting to see, to watch, to see that an actor can be so diverse and versatile. But I don't think that that's a story that I need to know, that I feel like I don't know. I feel like there are stories. There are characters that have stories that I want to get into. Rio, L3. But I mean, you know, but I'm excited about part 2 with Darth Maul, and you know, hopefully, you know.
What? I do feel like Dryden served his purpose only because
He did.
the Darth Maul reveal.
Yes.
And that's so important. I mean, how else would we have come to the understanding of who does he report to? Like, you know, you see this person, this character, and you're like, he's the head honcho, but who does he report to? And then who does we know who Darth Maul reports to? You know, it's like, so then you see the hierarchy, and that is super important to the storylines of all of the Star Wars movies.
I just feel like Paul Bettany did like such a great job with it,
He did.
where it was almost jarring because you see him and
Yes.
he's such a nice
Guy,
guy.
I
You know, he wasn't
know.
supposed to be the original Dryden.
Are you serious?
They said that the original
It's funny because I
guy.
can see him as that because of not even
That's
because of
talent.
Vision from when he did Da Vinci Code, like that, that dramatic adaptation
Yeah,
of a
that's true.
character. Like Dryden is very.
He's pretty underrated.
He's
Well, he
He's a
is.
pretty underrated
He's
character.
he's underrated actor.
actor,
He-
but as a
he-
character, like he's like Dryden's dark.
It was supposed to be CGI. Dryden was supposed to be CGI.
As
Really?
As what?
And someone was doing the voice acting for the character.
what kind of like an animal?
They
kind of
they
thing?
have concept art out there, but they were like, the guy couldn't make the reshoots. They went with Paul Bettany. And I think that this was one of those
I think it was
moments.
It's beautiful accident. Happy accident.
It is. It's the same thing that happened when he got Vision.
When he got Vision, like everyone's like, he's never gonna work again. Like
and they called him to do Vision.
Wow.
It was literally, God bless that man.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
he's doing so well.
Let's talk about Lando.
How pansexual is he? Okay, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. He just loves anything and anyone and anybody. And I think that he actually does love L3 because of what he was. Remember, he was recording in his little live journal and stuff. And Childish Gambino / Donald Glover is phenomenal as an actor, comedian, musician, person. Like he rips it. He rips it. He's just, I mean, in Lando, he killed it. Like, I mean, it fits for him. Like this character worked. It worked,
Like,
and I believed it.
Can you understand the level of talent that was on this solo cast? And then everyone heard "This Is America" on the Falcon, and everyone's like, "Yo, like we're in the presence of greatness." I'm actually here for the capes. But
I was so here for the capes.
as a Batman fan, you know I gotta love some capes.
Yes.
I am so sorry to all the Incredibles fans that are looking at me like,
No
capes! I feel like Lando as a character is the type of character that would just be like, listen, I'm chasing that high. I'm chasing that next new
everything.
thing that's gonna capture my interest and capture my
And it doesn't matter what it
Magneto.
is. Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm going to feast upon it.
absolutely.
I want to see Lando get that. How did he get Sky City? I want to see that.
I do want
wanna
to
see
see
this
that.
thing
I'm
just-
so here for part 2, 3, and 4 of Han Solo because it was just that much fun.
They only announced
It was a fun
2 and
movie.
3.
Now for poops and giggles. So we've had our fair show. We've been talking about Han Solo. We've had a lot of stuff with Star Wars. Star Wars is a bigger universe than what people know. There have already been extended universe stuff. What clip or what would you use from Star Wars to torture someone?
To torture someone?
Yeah, I would get a reel of Jar Jar Binks and repeat and play it for someone.
Okay.
I don't wish that on my worst enemy.
So I'm gonna be the one who defends Jar Jar. Jar Jar.
You gonna do the space roster?
Wait a minute, he was actually supposed to be like the key to everything, where he was supposed to be a Sith, and then fans got in the way
Y'all listening?
and got into
Y'all
George Lucas's head. If you would have just paid attention and waited and been patient, you would have seen that Jar Jar was a Sith the whole time and trying to mess up everything.
Jar was supposed to be that boy.
He was supposed to be the
What?
mole
Think
in the
about it.
fucking whole
He
rebellion.
voted in Palpatine.
Right?
But could you imagine that you're tied to a chair, someone puts a headset on your head, and all they're playing is Jar Jar Binks in loop?
You know what I would play? L3 losing all her parts.
Ooh.
Damn. That's just
And like-
Too soon!
That's so
Too
sad.
soon! Our cameraman got some. Antonio from across the hall got one.
If I had to make someone listen, I would have them listen to a reel of all the sappy Hayden Christensen and Natalie Portman scenes.
Yes.
Because I want to blow
He
my brain.
technically
Yes.
stole mine, but I'm gonna one up you and just do the entire scene where he's like, "I'm so mad at you, Obi-Wan," and blah blah blah. And
Yeah,
he's like,
yeah.
"I love you. I hate you. I hate you." He's like, "I love you. You're my brother."
I'm gonna give you my next pick. I would cut the first 5 minutes of this movie, extend it into 2 hours of the Star Wars Christmas special of nothing but
Oh my
Chewbacca's
God.
family talking.
Oh my god. Oh my god. I'm with it though. I don't know why I'm so with it.
Cut the camera. We're done. We're done.
Let's talk about the projects that you guys are, working on all that. Who
Yeah.
wants to start first? Well, the ladies first. Ladies first.
Sure. So I'm working on a project called Broken Dolls and Robotic Hearts. I wrote it as a play a couple years back. It's been in the works all my life, I would say, because it touches on various parts of my life, but it's also set in an Afrofuturistic setting, maybe post-apocalyptic. And then there's elements of spirituality. There's elements of, what we talked about earlier, where America is politically and how folks are being ostracized for who they are, and so cyborgs and dolls and robots and humans intermingle, but there's like some higher society doesn't agree with this and wants them to be registered and numbered and doesn't recognize them as human in some regard. So it's just my way of introducing a setting that's different, and that's sci-fi, and I mean I love it. And it's also being turned into a graphic novel. Shout out to Justin Fichetto, who's illustrating that for me, my partner.
Justin!
Everyone loves you, including me. Thank you for all you do. And so Broken Dolls and Robotic Hearts is coming on stage July 17th, 21st, and 22nd. Go to brownpapertickets.com and get your tickets for Broken Dolls and Robotic Hearts. And the graphic novel will be coming out by the end of the summer, hopefully, if not early fall.
So since last time you guys saw me, I have now launched Taos by Law, and I have my first podcast episode, and I have a third one doing on the same day once I get home for the art of storytelling. So I have been doing my own personal stuff. I have a book on the way. I have some small video projects coming up. I am working with Lorisse on Broken Dolls and Hearts,
and Robotic Hearts.
Robotic Hearts. I'm so sorry.
It's alright. Everyone does it.
But I'm working on a few things at once. I'm also a part of Geek Ronin. We are doing Comic BarCon with Geek Ronin. We have a new formatted show coming out. I am working on another project that I can't talk about just yet. It's so.
Excuse me.
When it's out, I promise you guys, I'll let you know. And then Unyquee, August 25th at Hofstra University. I'm doing a little bit of everything. It's hard to catch up and keep up with me, but go to taosbylaw.com, Geek Ronin, and Unyquee, and you will catch me for everything. I am going to be working more with this guy on the mag, so more projects coming out.
Me too!
That's been another episode of Nerds Around. I want to thank my guests.
Thank you.
We want to thank you guys for being on.
Thank you.
Catch you on the flip side, and stay nerdy. She's done like a Storm cosplay, and she's done a Scarlet Witch cosplay.
Yes,
Capes
Uni.
are crazy.
Yes, Uni. You better.
Oh,
Uni.
you know Unique?
Oh,
you know what's
yes.
Unique?
Yes, I am Ororo.
Shout out Unique.
Unique,
up, girl?
you better work
What
those capes. You better work them to the gods, okay?
She's ready for
I'm ready.
Don't ask me to do that, but I'm gonna break. And in the first 5 minutes is his family talking, no subtitles. All you just and Granddad's watching porn.
Alright, time out.
Granddad is watching porn.
Ready?